Hi friends, my name is Joy. I am a self-love enthusiast, fashion designer, creator, and blogger from Made with Joy. I am here today because I want to show you guys how to make your homemade face mask. This is not an N95 face mask, however, hospitals around the USA are running out of face masks, and I myself have nursing friends and family, cousins, aunt that works in hospitals and they don't have one. It makes me very sad because they are frontliners. They're out there putting their lives at risk for us and they don't have anything to protect them. So to start off, the cool thing about this face mask is it has two layers. This is the external layer and it has an internal layer where you can put the Hepa filter inside. I don't have it with me. My cousin specifically just asked me to make it like this for her so that she could just buy these filters, put them in, take them out. And the cool thing about this homemade face mask is they're washable, so you could just throw them in the washer and dryer. And this specific one I made for her is a knit face mask, so it stretches around your face. It's very soft, it's cotton blend, and yeah, it's breathable. You can talk. Right now I'm talking, blah blah blah. And I will show you guys exactly how to make that in just a minute. So bear with me, it's a few steps, and even if you're new to sewing, I believe you can do this. It's so easy. It's very, very easy. So don't go anywhere. Here are the materials that you'll be needing: paper scissors, fabric scissors, piece of paper, measuring tape, tracing wheel, awl, pencil, eraser, ruler, pins, and a 1/4 inch elastic. For your fabrics, try to use knit cotton blend fabrics with different prints and colors that you want. If you don't want to use all of these, try to use denier to use for your inner layer fabric to hold your Hepa filter. Now we're ready to make our paper pattern. Let's fold our paper in half in order for us to save time. Measure 6 inches from your ruler. Remember, this is the measurement from the top of your nose to the bottom of your chin. Once you have this straight line, draw another line across the 3-inch mark. This is the measurement on how wide you want your face mask to be, and it should be 4.5 inches. Once you've drawn your line, draw another line for your side seams. It should be 4 inches, 2 inches on the top, 2 inches on the bottom. Then freehand it or use a ruler to connect the sides to your center front seam. Make sure to do both sides. From the very top of your center front seam, measure 1 inch down and mark it. Also measure 1 inch on the side and connect the marks. It should look like a triangle. Oopsies! Let me try that one more time. You will cut this part later on in order for the pattern to follow the shape of your nose. Now that it's perfect, let's make our side darts. From the line that you made across our center front line, measure 2 inches, draw a dot, and circle it. And measure 1/2 inch up and 1/2 inch down. Connect the dots, it should make another triangle. These are your side notches, and this is what your pattern should look like by now. I would label this your knit face mask. And after this, you're ready to cut. Cut, cut, cut! I would also redraw my side notches after this so I know where to cut later on. Now it's time to make our inner layer pattern. Unfold your face mask pattern and measure 1/4 inch from the top of your center front line and the bottom of your center front line. This is how high your inner layer pattern should be. It should be 4.5 inches. Once again, find the center of 4.5, which should be 2.25. Make a straight line across. This will be how wide your inner layer pattern should be, and it should be 3.25 inches. Make another straight line for the side seams of your inner layer pattern, and it should measure 3.25 inches as well. Again, connect the side seams to your center front seam, both sides. I happen to have this curvy ruler. If you don't, feel free to just freehand it. It's totally fine. Just try to follow the shape of your original pattern. Now it's time to use our tracing wheel and trace the inner layer pattern so we can have our actual pattern. Grab another piece of paper, fold it in half, and put it below your original face mask pattern. Make sure the center front part matches and trace the inner layer pattern that you just drew. Now follow the marks that your tracing wheel made and draw. To make it neater, you can use your rulers or just simply freehand it. Once you're happy with it, label it and call it the inner layer pattern, and now it's time to cut your pattern. Now that you have both patterns, it's time to put them on top of your fabrics and cut them. I personally like folding patterns just because it saves me time, especially when we're doing the same exact thing on both sides. Oops, I totally forgot you also will be needing pins. So pin everything and try to make sure that everything is flat and there are no fabric bubbles. Now it's time to cut your fabrics and cut your side notches and use your awl for your dart. The dot that you circled earlier, use your awl and punch it and make sure it goes all the way through. Now that that's done, you also need to cut your inner layer fabric. Cut. Now we're almost to my favorite part. Take out all the pins and we're about to get ready to sew! First, let's sew our side darts. Use a pin to mark the dot that you punched in earlier. Make sure that you do this both sides and your fabrics are laying super flat. From there, sew your side notches where you should sew like an upside down triangle going to the pin. Sew all the way down, passing the pin for about ½ inch down. Once you do it on one side, don't forget to do it on the other side as well. Now that we have our side notches sewn, we can now use our Overlock sewing machine to cover our raw edges. Sewing is just like driving. The more you do it, the more you get used to it. So just overlock all the sides of your fabrics until we're ready to sew them together. Make sure to also cut your excess threads out. Overlock your inner layer fabric as well on all sides, then we will be ready to sew both sides together. Now we're ready to sew our outer layer face mask. Fold the top part of your face mask for about ½ inch and sew right across the seam allowance. Make sure to sew across the first top part and then the bottom part, and clip all unnecessary threads that you don't need. Now let's sew our side seams. Fold the side seam for about 3/4 inch and sew across the seam. Do it both sides. Now it's time to work on the inner layer fabric. Fold each side of the seam for about ½ inch and sew across the seams. Make sure to do it on all 4 sides. Now we're ready to sew both layers together. Make sure the pointy part is facing up. Start with sewing the top part with ½ inch seam allowance from the inner layer fabric on top of the outer layer fabric. Take out all unnecessary threads when finished. Now it's time to do the bottom part. You will do the same exact thing and just sew it together. Hey, you're almost done! Now you just have to add your 1/4 inch elastic. Measure 7 inches and cut your elastic twice because you'll be needing a set of this. Now it's time to put your elastic inside your side seams. Grab about 3/4 of your 1/4 inch elastic, push it in, and use tweezers if needed, and sew it together, going back and forth at least 3 times. Do the same thing at the bottom so you make a secure loop for your ears. Now you just have to repeat the same exact steps on the other side. And then you're done! You made it! Congratulations! You have your very own homemade face mask. Now go make lots of these and donate them to hospitals. Friends, thank you so much for staying with me in my very first vlog. Share it please. If you know anyone that's crafty, fashion designer, who knows how to sew, who loves to sew, who wants to sew for the first time, they just never had the chance to do it, share this YouTube video. Help save lives. I believe we need this right now. So I'm calling all my DIYers, my crafters, you know who you are, please help. We need your help. The hospitals need your help. Lots of people need your help. This is your time to shine. This is your time to put your talent into work. I believe we can all do this together. We can beat this thing. I hope you guys enjoyed my very first YouTube vlog and you got to make your own face mask. Enjoy! Thanks again for being here.